May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? Would the real Slim Shady please stand up? Would the real Slim Shady please stand up? Houston, we're gonna have a problem over here.
This is a video response in defense of my Evolution Fairytale number 4 natural selection video criticized by Samar that is specifically made for his Allele Frequency claim. It seems to me that Samar and other evolutionists like him are arguing against creationism intelligent design over the fact that changes in alleles happen, creating genetic variation among individual species in respect to populations. Furthermore, it is also argued by them that alleles are caused by genetic mutations, which are basically DNA copying errors. Judging by the logic, it seems to me that in order for creation to be true and evolution false, there should be no variety in alleles at all, because otherwise it would confirm evolution. Ironically though, an expectation like that would be pretty bizarre. First off, if there was no variation in alleles, this world would be nothing but clones. Individual species would look identical to their parents as to that from their ancestry. Second, variations in alleles is what makes daughters and sons unique compared to their mommies and daddies. Just like how two different unrelated families tend to have obvious different physical appearances together. Even among closely related relatives, they each have unique appearances despite the similarity they share together with the family blood. Third, it seems pretty inconceivable why a creator would create a world full of clones. Tell me, would you like to live in a world where everything looks so repetitive and the same? A world full of Slim Shadys where it's hard to tell who's who? I think it would be pretty, retarded if a creator designed all his biological life creation all the same. Also, variations in alleles don't result into vertical evolution nor the origin of novel complexity. Rather, they are fields that result into new variations among individual species within populations once again. It is a mechanism that only accounts for how the majority of individuals do not remain identical to their parents. It also does not create new genetic information nor result into new genes. You want new genetic information, then I suggest you stick with mutations. Now let's address your claim about alleles. The problem with using alleles as some means to account for the origin of new genes is the fact that they are only variant combinations that are limited on the basis of the same corresponding gene. Further, you are right that alleles don't stay perfectly aligned, as you mentioned in your video. This is because alleles are created through the process of genetic recombination. You say you are a biologist, right? Well then, you should know better that the variation of alleles is nothing more but a genetic recombinant process that redistributes the same contents of a genome among various individuals during reproduction. Same gene, different combinations, which are basically alleles. As for your folks that think the origin of new allele is recombination is caused by mutations, no, it is not. Genetic recombinant is formed by the breakage and rejoinment of chromosomes as discovered in 1961 by Matthew Meselson and Jean Weigel, as well as single nucleotide substitutions. Same gene. Another thing I would like to point out is that there can be many alleles within the same gene in the population. The set of alleles in the genome of one individual almost always differs from those of another. One member of each pair of chromosomes comes from the father and the other comes from the mother. The two members of a pair have the same genes, but based off different alleles, which are basically different combinations out of other possible different combinations. If each of two parents differ by only one allele in each chromosome, there will be a large potential variety in their offspring. Given that humans, for example, each have 23 pairs of chromosomes, the mother can make female gametes drawn from a set of 2 to the power of 23, which will be equal to 8 million different ones. Equally, the father has the same potential in making male gametes, or however you pronounce that. The offspring that could come from the two of them together then can be drawn from a set of more than 8 million. That's about 10,000 times the population of the Earth. The potential for variation is large, but recombination can multiply the variety greatly. As the germ cell divides in meiosis and the chromosomes swap the pieces between them, many combinations can appear over the same gene. This is once again a redistribution over the same pre-existing genetic content, not new genes nor information. So if evolution according to your definition is nothing more but a change of populations, then I agree. We have nothing to discuss about here since I do not dispute that. On the other hand, I am interested in the origin of universal biodiversity and how new body plan structures, organs, etc. originated here in the first place. If you want to have a discussion of that, then I'll be happy to join it. Otherwise, we're just wasting time arguing over something we both agree on. As for those who are interested in my review of his criticism, I left my own critique in the comment section below. Update. When I was about to publish the video, I noticed that Samar left a response in regards to his video. He admits that the variation of alleles themselves does not account for the origin of pre-existing genes, which was basically what I tried to argue here, although my natural selection Fairytale video did not specifically address alleles at the first place. Point confirmed. Now, aside from his self-replicating nucleic acid and his claim that I do not understand statistics, he goes off with genetic drift and tries to educate me about why the ratio of alleles do not always occur equally due to random sampling error and other confounding factors that can cause deviation distances away from the expected value, that is, in statistics, usually located at the center of the normal binomial external distribution. Usually, as he says, expected values are unreliable in practice, especially when it comes to small samples. On the other hand, the overall number of observations will eventually be weighted out closer and closer to expected value by sample size, as well as the inverse variance that is frequently used for effect or random effect meta-analyses. To put it in layman terms, the more samples there are, the less variance there is, and the more closer it gets to the expected value of a population. This is something called the law of large numbers. Now, as for his change of racial allele frequency, I really don't understand what that has anything to do with refuting what I said. Regardless how close or away the allele ratio is from the expected value, there isn't going to be some new gene going on. They're still going to be based off on the same pre-existing genes with different combinations, but will be either more or less common than it was before in the previous generation, which was something I already addressed in my natural selection video. Well, that's the end of my presentation, so thanks for watching.